Let's go. We're live.
Everyone, thanks for joining us today for our monthly lunch and learn. This month is June and it's it's Pride Month, right? And today is Pride Day. And we didn't think there was a better opportunity. This is a great opportunity to talk about, open up the dialogue about the realities of domestic and sexual violence in the LGBTQ plus community, and really open a dialogue and talk about SafeNest and who we serve and our services and how we support anyone and everyone who is experiencing violence in our community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my two colleagues, Bree and Angela, and I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll go from there. And please feel free to, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat and we will keep an eye out for those. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lori. We appreciate it. Hi, Facebook world. My name is Angela Reyes. I am the VP of Prevention and Education. Pardon my boxes in the back. I'm with Bree. Go ahead, Bree, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bree. I am in Angela's department, and I'm a program manager for one of our athletic-based youth programs. And I'm excited to be talking about this today because I feel like, given all of the extenuating circumstances outside of SafeNest, we as an organization and as a community serving entity, that it's a very important conversation to be having.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, Bree. You know, we talk about inclusivity, not just during the month of June, right? SafeNest is an organization that's been around probably older than me. So I'm 40 something, so I won't say the age live, but definitely been around here in Las Vegas for quite some time. But all of our services are definitely inclusive to any and all who seek service. Our whole main goal and purpose at SafeNest is to provide safety, right? Safety from domestic violence, safety against sexual assault, safety for anybody in need of shelter, in need of services. Anything and anyone is welcome through our doors. I like to think of SafeNest as the safe place, right? It's a safe zone. I love the fact, I think one of the biggest questions that we always get because of domestic violence is, do we serve men? Right? So I get that question a lot. How do you guys shelter men? Where do the men go? You know, we get the same question, right, Bree? Like, I'm, you know, transgender, or I'm non-binary. I don't identify, you know, where can I go? Where can I seek service? I think our hotline has been trained by some of the best people in the business, right? We've been trained by Cy over at the center, and talk about our assessments and the way we answer our calls at hotline, right? Asking appropriate questions, being open, being honest. You know, if you're needing services, we don't care. We just want to be able to provide that service.
Thanks, Angela. So let me throw out a question and sort of something that I want to talk about and I want you guys to address is some of the misconceptions that people have about domestic violence and the LGBTQ plus community. I'm wondering if you guys can talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just like domestic violence doesn't have a face or a specified, you know, gender that it affects, age, right? We are here to say that because domestic violence doesn't, you know, discriminate, neither do we. We as an entity and as an organization, we want you to know and understand that our resources are abundant to you regardless of the nature of your relationship, right? We're not in the business of asking people, well, who are you with and why? And I think that's the misconception of this rather than the rest of the world can be very scary, right? For somebody who identifies as something other than a cisgendered heterosexual person. You know, they have already been told that they won't get services from other places. They've already been scared of who's going to look at them funny or who's going to give them an answer that's going to be appreciating of who they are as their character. And we're here to say that we are not that. We represent the piece of the world that is unbiased and not non-judgmental.
No, absolutely. I also think that it's super scary right now, right? And I mean, anytime, obviously, coming out and sharing your relationship status or your sexual identity or whatever it may be, gender identity, you know, protected classes have always struggled with seeking resources, right? How scary to not be able to know who to call, where to go, what do I say, right? Always trying to be one step ahead, trying to find the right answer. Oh, you know, I don't know. Should I not answer that? Should I answer that? Should I, what do I say? You know, and I think, again, I go back to the abilities that our hotline has, right? Anybody that's seeking services, regardless of any gender identity, sexual identity, however, whichever you identify, our hotline staff is there and available to link to resources, to link to shelter, to do warm handoffs with other community resources that you may be in need of. You know, anyone is welcome to utilize those services. And I think I'm going to share that number right now. Before Lori even asks, I'm going to share it. Our hotline is 702-646-4981.
That's right. You can call or chat. You can call that number or text that number 24/7. You can also chat online at our website, www.safenest.org. You know, I love what you guys are saying. Can you talk a little bit and sort of walk us through if somebody calls the hotline, what happens next, right? I think one of the misconceptions is how do we take men in our shelter, right? How do we keep men safe? So can you guys talk about that a little bit?
So yeah, so when you call, obviously you can call 24/7, 365. Someone will always answer. Once you get an answer, they will ask you a series of questions just to make sure you're not in immediate and imminent danger, right? Because then we obviously refer you to 911 or some kind of emergency services. But once they ask you those set of questions and whatever you need, whether that be shelter, right? Regardless of, like we said, regardless of your gender, we do have options. We have communal living, obviously, in our shelter, which is, gender specific for women and children. But we also have other options that is not communal living, like our apartments or our connections with other, community, like Angela said, other community resources as well. And once you call, you get those resources. They'll also, lead you to some of our legal services, our clinician services. Once they are able to give you that list of questions, depending on what you need, is what we're here for.
Exactly. So I guess the bottom line is, if you're a man and you are seeking safety and resources and support in our community, call SafeNest, call or text us, and we will find a way to keep you safe, to address any of your concerns. We can talk to you about safety planning. We can get you to a safe space if needed. All of our services are here for you, right? It doesn't matter what your gender is. Right. What else can we, Angela, what about in the, I know we do a lot of preventative programs within the youth space. And I think that the LGBTQ community is, has questions about their children, right? In our schools. And so do we have curriculum, and do we talk about healthy relationships, no matter what your identity is, right, in our programs?
Absolutely. That's such a great question. The LGBTQ plus community has, unfortunately, a really high homeless population, right? Like, the numbers are skyrocketed, super high. There's some great youth programs here in Las Vegas, but we're all nodding our heads, yes, 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 when it comes to school-based prevention. We are in numerous Clark County school districts. We are in numerous charter schools. We even have conversations at the Boys and Girls Club, right? And other local community centers and talk about this very thing. We talk about healthy relationships, regardless of the makeup of those relationships. We have conversations. I think Bree's team, specifically with athletes as leaders and our coaching Boys into Men program, really focusing on those specific topics. What are the current things that are happening, right? Where are some components where we need help, right? What do we need to be talking about? What are some of the conversations that we need to be having? One of the great things about that program specifically with Bree is opening up that dialogue. Let's have some conversations, right? Who cares who's uncomfortable? We're going to have those conversations. We want to know what's being talked about. We got to know how we can best serve our youth. How do we have these conversations about what's transpiring for them? Right.
Yeah.
I love when kids always say, it's different from when you guys went to school, right? Things aren't the same as they were. And Bree's younger than us. And she's even told, hey, things are different.
I'm still
now.
Disconnected.
Right? Like we would probably be shocked at some of the things that you hear from little kids. They're just an open box and they just speak the truth. And that's what we want to do. We want to have real conversations. We want to know what they need, what kids need, what youth need, what LGBTQ plus youth need, right? Those needs are different. What do our kids in our other underserved communities need, right? What does a disabled community partners need and kiddos need, right? So we to answer your question, a lot of our curriculum in regards to healthy relationship is absolutely about knowing where to access resources, and we are that resource.
Yeah. And one thing I do like about our programs as well is when we're having these conversations, it's not about my own bias or the adult's own bias or whatever it is that we conflict over or we create a platform for to kind of argue within each other. These programs are specifically for young adults who have questions either about the relationships that they're having or the relationship with themselves or the relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
From a perspective that's not within the home or someone they have to see 24/7 or they have to worry about the consequences. And for any LGBTQIA plus anybody that identifies as something other than the norm, that's essential to the rest of their lives, right? To have that one person or that one setting that they feel safe and comfortable in, regardless of how I feel about what they're going through or what they're doing with their life, that it's safe. So that's one thing I do love about getting to go into the schools and really trying to give them a space to speak and to talk and to learn from them. Like Angela said, these aren't the same. I graduated high school 10 years ago, and you would swear it was decades and decades because it's new language, it's new conversations, definitely new hardships. So to be present in that, I feel like SafeNest is doing a great job in getting to younger kids earlier on and to making them feel safe and continuing that through their adulthood.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys. So we're about to wrap up. I just want to give you guys one more chance to weigh in if you have anything else, but I think we've kind of covered everything. I hope that the one clear message that comes out of this is on today, which is Pride Day, is that we're here for you. You matter in our community. You always matter. And please call or text 702-646-4981 if you need help, resources, or support. We appreciate you and have a great day, and we'll see you next month. Thanks.
Happy Pride.